Chad Eckert, but that is not Eric Martins. But you are watching the Fantasy Golf Pod. Follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Golf Pod. And normally here on the pod, we crack beers. Today, it's only 3 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, so I'm doing a Mountain Dew. Got to keep that energy up. Got to get that caffeine going all day. Got a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. Okay, today, Saturday, March 21st. That's where you find us. The world is sportsless. It's tough to be this fantasy sports content creator. I'm pretending to be. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go to the range. I'm going to get some practice in. I'm going to get better. How am I going to do that? Bring in people like who know what they're talking about, people in the business, people in the know. And today, I've got a real person, a real DFS player, perhaps an actual expert, a contributor to Asimo.com, Ben Rasa. What up, dude?
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, Ben Rasa on our podcast. This is amazing. This is what you could say is almost awesome. Oh,
awesome. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Now, it's Rasa, not Raza.
Rasa, yeah. A lot of people
you're like the Joel Damon of DFS touts. You're just either Damon or Dominant. It doesn't matter.
Interchangeable style, right?
Okay, cool. Now, you work at Asimo. What is that?
I do, yeah. So, for people that don't know about Asimo.com, we provide content centered around DFS, doing some sports betting as well. Alex Baker founded the site. Plenty of contributors over there. I do a lot of golf, do some NFL, but obviously PGA is where you'll mostly find me. Tools, projections, ownership, all the things to honestly make you a better player.
Okay, so have you always done this? Have you always provided DFS content, or what did you used to do?
So what did I used to do? So I graduated college in 2011, and I worked in finance for a bit, played a little DFS kind of on the side, and then that started to become more and more. And then I quit my job in 2015, I want to say 2015 or 2016 to play DFS full time. And
okay. So then are you worried you might have to go back to your job? We got no sports.
I know. These are trying times. I'm not going to lie. We've been trying to get creative over at Asimo, doing some things.
No, I saw you last night. You're like doing some simulations, 2K NBA style.
We are, yeah. Sports will be back soon enough, hopefully. Obviously, right now, different world we're all living in, and I'm certainly feeling it.
What about esports? You guys have that over there, don't you?
We do. You will not find me anywhere near that. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we do have people that are covering it. League of Legends and all that are certainly available on the site. Now,
why did you want to be a DFS guy? Or how did you get into DFS? Most people are poker players, or they're just smart at math. You got both those backgrounds, or where'd you come from?
Maybe one of two. I play a lot of poker.
Okay.
Though I wouldn't qualify myself as smart at math. I do what I can. It's weird. I mean, I never really played fantasy sports growing up. Wasn't a fan. I got dragged into leagues by friends, but I never liked it. And then I kind of stumbled on it randomly. I'm not going to lie. I always wonder if I would have found it. Probably. I think eventually, but I just found it kind of, I was in a rut. I'm not going to lie, in my life. Needed some activities, and my therapist of all people was just like, find some things daily. And that stuck with me. I started playing.
Keep your mind occupied.
Yeah, just keep my mind occupied. That's really what it
gives you something to do.
I was playing pretty recreationally, and then I started taking it more seriously, and then it kind of grew from there.
Now, more seriously, what did you? Here's a question: did you start trying to get into it more seriously, or did you fall into a mega profit and then you decided, hey, this isn't bad? Now I'm going to take it seriously. How did you?
So it was a combination.
You've won a lot of money. I mean, I saw you almost won $1 million. You're second place in a Millie Maker.
Yeah, that was much needed a couple months ago.
How does that feel, being second place of a Millie Maker? Is it good, or are you mad?
So obviously it felt great. It definitely feels like I had, I always thought maybe I would have one chance to win that. That was definitely the chance. That's never going to happen again. But
just people might not know, but it was in NFL, so it's not in golf, but that's still cool. Was it at week 16? I mean, this was recent.
It was late. Yeah, it was. I think it was 15 or 16. Okay. I had a chance. I needed like everything. You need that perfect break at the end. I did not get that, but I ran so pure. You have to in that type of tournament. So it was.
Now, we're low stakes players, so like for us, I mean, that is unimaginable. I don't even play to try to win $1 million. I don't do those contests. I just go with the I'm cool with cashing a comma, I say, and winning 1,000. That's great enough. Now, you you play for a higher stakes than us. Does winning $200,000, does that just like make you even? Do you actually like celebrate that, or are you just kind of like meh on that?
So yeah, I mean, it's obviously, no matter how good you think you are or whatnot, you're going to have long streaks of, either running bad or not doing anything wrong and just not connecting. So depending on your volume, you're going to have ebbs and flows. It's nice to get reassurance in the term of a result. You can feel confident in what you're doing, but it's really hard to stay positive if you're just not getting the results time after time. So when you do get one and you feel like you got the most out of it, you have to take a little time to celebrate and then you get back to work.
So then that 200K hit, does that allow you to put money into your Roth IRA and kind of get some savings going, or does that kind of get you kind of playing to make sure you can go for another year or two on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. One of the most important things in DFS is making sure that you're properly bankrolled, because if you're not, you're going to start making decisions based on the fear of you don't want to lose rather than what you should be doing. So, having more runway is always important, obviously, and that money, of course, goes a long way. You just hope to get lucky, put yourself in the position to get lucky over time, and I've been able to do that a couple times.
Now, specifically on golf, do you use the same process each week? Where do you start? I know you have to do a show on Mondays, Tuesdays. You're basically starting the research just by being in the position you're in. But does that change, or how does your weekly process look like? Are you a one lineup guy? Do you use 20? Do you use a player pool? Or you use 150 lineups? Tell us about your weekly process.
So yeah, that's obviously a great question, and I think I try to describe myself as a chameleon, where I really don't have a regimented process. I think it's important to tailor yourself to a week and how you're doing and what's going on. I build by hand, so that's really unique. I think most people do not. I'll build about 50 to 75 on a given week. Rarely will I go to 150. That's just too much. Usually like to get 50 to 75, and I kind of build like a pyramid. So I put those in the large field GPPs, and then I whittle them down, and I'll take, say, 20 of them, and I'll put them in the next tier of buy-ins. And then I'll take 10 of those, put them in maybe some of the expensive tournaments. And then I take like 2 of those or 3 of those in the 3-entry max, and then a single entry. So if I connect the right lineup, I really can do damage, because it's kind of like a pyramid, like I described it.
Now, are you deciding the lineups randomly, or are you looking at the 150 and you're like, dude, I really like this one, and picking and plucking them specifically?
So it's certainly not random. I don't want to say it's random.
Okay.
Obviously, if I knew which was my best lineup, I would just use that lineup. Of course, it's not that simple. But what I'm really trying to do is tailor the lineup to the right, leverage and structure of the tournament. I'm a firm believer in a 200-man tournament. You need to be a little different than it when you're going against 100,000 people. So I really try to be cognizant of putting the right lineups in the right tournaments and seeing if I can get the right lineup in the right thing.
Okay. Now, I've known you as more of you used to be, at least, maybe this has changed and we can talk about it, but like a game theory player, and just knowing, no one knows anything can happen. Golf's a variant sport. Going with a low-owned guy usually is something better. Now, before you answer, I know things have a little bit changed, and I wanted to get your opinions on it. Starting in the middle of the NFL season, we saw Adam Levitan spoke on this, that people were leveling themselves by not using the best plays because they were just they were just too galaxy braining it. Is this happening in golf now? Because we've seen, like, in the first couple months, chalk has been hitting, and there's been the most owned guys have been doing okay. So are we going to get to a point where it's almost like the NFL, where if you get too cute, you almost take yourself out of it and level yourself?
So there's definitely something to that. Again, I'll go back to the format. So if you're in a really top-heavy tournament, sure, I'm going to still embrace that, because you only need to be right very few times to get a 2 years worth of buy-ins. In something that's a little more structured, I think you're absolutely right. There is something to fading guys just purely on ownership. You got to be careful with that, because if they are a fantastic play, there's something to be said on that. So I try to strike the right balance. Obviously, I'm not perfect on that, as no one
Mhm.
is, but I do think you have to consider both sides of it.
Okay. Now, you probably hey, you were one of the people that actually has been nice to us along the way when we had 300 followers and no one wanted to talk to us. You were giving us insight, and I was using you on our pod. You've preached this thousands of times. I've watched it on Mayo and other shows that, hey, what are your strategies? Oh, it's the same stuff, but can you give us kind of like an overall one thing that's the most important thing kind of thing?
Sure. I mean, you know, obviously, if you're talking about DFS golf, you mentioned high variance sport. I think you really can't be too results oriented, not just in your DFS, but within the players themselves. Try to find out why. I know that's pretty simple, but if you see a guy got cut, figure out why he got cut. Did he have a hole where he made a 10? Well, that's different than if he just played bad. Could he not putt? That's different than if he couldn't drive the ball. And if you just look at, did he make the cut or miss the cut, you're really missing small edges. And then,
Sure.
you know, going forward, you can kind of be ahead of the curve for some people that are just looking at that macro view.
Right on. So what's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen with PGA? Are we gonna get it back this season? Do you think they're gonna like do something eventually?
I mean, my man, your guess is as good as mine. I hope so. Maybe we'll see a Masters in October. That's just not something I ever thought would be
That'd be weird.
possible. I mean, eventually stuff will be coming back. I think it's going to be quite a while. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, and we'll have to see. It's going to be a very interesting time in the DFS world once it does come back.
Maybe, God, maybe by next July or whatever, we can have a DFS Open again. You attended the
I was
DFS
there.
Open. That was fun, was it? You were with Rick Run Good. You were with our guy, Culp. Weren't you in a pairing with Culp, the
I
Minnesotan?
was another Minnesotan with Reed Fowler as well.
Yep.
Golfed with Pat Mayo one day. It was a great time. Ton of great people down there. Had fun. Met so many good people. I am confirmed an awful golfer. That's not going to be changing, but it
But
was
no,
really
hey, but what's been also confirmed though, Ben, is that you're like funny and
debatable.
as much as you're a straight shooter on these pods and you kind of just tell us as it is in terms of stats and stuff, you have a sense of humor. What's going on?
It's been alleged at times. No, it was great. Like I said, and honestly, it was perfect timing because I flew back to New York, you know, on a Monday, and the minute I landed, there was a couple of cases, and that seems like a whole nother lifetime ago. So we lucked
So
out.
then, what are you doing with yourself? Are you married? Do you have children?
No, not married, no children. I live with my girlfriend. We are just kind of hunkered down here,
Yep.
betting the horses.
Where in New York are you?
So I'm right above the city in Westchester County, which
Okay.
is getting just pummeled by this, unfortunately. Great area. Just right now we're, you know,
So then
there's
you
not
can't
much to
even
do.
leave your place, right? You're on lockdown.
Not really.
So then can
so
you don't have anything to do either. You can't gamble.
no,
So you're like, I'll do the pod anytime, Chad.
yeah, man. Anytime you need me. No, it's like I said, we've been doing some content over at Awesome. We're going to continue to do that. Horse racing here and there is still up. And
Okay. Yeah.
we'll see if poker will pass the time. But really, it's a waiting game like everyone else.
Well, you'll have to get into League of Legends, and you'll have to figure out who like the best players are. Like, who's the Rory of League of Legends? Is that what it's called, League of Legends?
I know, like I can't lie to you. I literally know less than zero. I'll have to read the content over on the site because I saw.
I'm gonna need to figure out who the Sung Jae Im is and just play him every week.
Seriously, he's poor Sunday. He's probably dying with no golf here.
Oh my gosh, what's he gonna do? He's gonna
I don't know.
He's probably gonna save the world or come up with some rocket science stuff.
We need him. But
well, anything else you want to say? You want to promote whoever? What besides Osimo though? You're like pretty much on Mayo Weekly almost.
Yeah. I go on there all the time, and you know you can follow me, of course, on JazzRaz DFS on Twitter. No, I mean, like I said, it was fun to come on. I always like things like this.
Dude, and then if you are watching this and you are wondering about stuff, we're both the type of people that we will answer DMs. This
absolutely
Ben responds like some people are high and mighty and they don't have time for the little guy, but we both do, and he really does, and he'll give you the honest answer. That's why I was excited. I was telling Eric, I'm excited to talk to you because you legit tell us stuff that you feel. It's not like you're faking it for the show. You know?
No, I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I kind of call it as I see it. I do the best I can, and I try not to take it too seriously. You can't. Listen, it's a very tough – DFS is tough.
Well,
It's
2
getting
years
tougher.
ago, you almost won the Masters, and you were like, "Oh well, I don't even really care."
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Patrick
like
Reed,
it was
I owe
luck
him
or
one.
whatever. It's like, well, whatever.
It's, like I said, you have to, you put in the work and eventually you
True.
see it connect. It's really gratifying. I'm not going to lie. I work really hard at this. I have long stretches where I'm ice cold. When you hit one, it feels great. And, it motivates you to try to find the next thing because you always want to be early. That's honestly if I have a final message, it's don't be afraid to say, you know what? I haven't heard this anywhere. I haven't seen this anywhere. Don't think just because you haven't seen or heard it that it's wrong.
Exactly.
Trust yourself. If you really have an eye on it, test it and see where it goes. Doesn't mean it's going to be right, but it also doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right. What's the worst thing that can happen? You could lose your money being totally wrong, or you could lose your money being sort of wrong.
That's right.
You got to go
Words to
for
live
it.
by.
But hey, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. You're the man. Again, if anyone wants to hit him up, he's at Jazz RAZ.
Yeah, well,
DFS.
Singles E singles day.
There you go. Again, Ben Rasa. Thanks a lot, dude. Appreciate you.
Of course, anytime. Talk soon.
Sounds good.